Oh, hey, sorry, didn't see you there. Welcome back to the shop. So today I got a huge mess to clean up from the epic work we've been doing over the last several weeks. Our full feature length film is going to be coming out real soon. And well, the last couple weeks it's been focused completely on that. And I've got a mess and a lot of stuff to pick up and put away. But today's subject came from one of you viewers, and Squirrel over at Squirrel's Workshop asked the question, how many hours do I spend a week working in the shop? Well, I tell you what, let's watch the show intro. It takes 5 seconds. You can learn a little bit about the channel, and then we'll get right into it. I'm Mike.
This is My Cars Shop.
If you were to base the number of hours I spend in the shop based upon what this last week was like, it would have been a big fat zero. I've just been burned out, whipped, and exhausted. But we did get the movie done, and that will be coming out in a few weeks. And so that's good. But the question was, how many hours a week do I spend in the shop? Well, it may not be quite as many as you think. I'm going to hang this banner up that my buddy Chris sent me, or actually, I think his wife Colleen got it for me. And we'll be right back. Some of you have asked similar questions and also commented on just how many projects I'm doing, and you struggle to understand that because of where you're at with doing one project and not being able to keep up with where you want to be on that. But kind of what I've talked about on other episodes is learning to just meet myself where I'm at and shake my own hand, I suppose, but really accepting myself as I am and being able to learn how to manage myself as I am. And that requires for me, with all of my attention deficit issues and other things, is I very much am a shiny penny person. I focus on this and I'm working on that, and then I'm over here and I'm doing this, and then I'm over here and I'm doing that. And I think the channel kind of reflects that. But I've learned to channel that.
And I don't just mean a YouTube channel.
What I do mean is I've learned to create my own distractions and keep things around me that I can be distracted by something else that I already have that I'm working on, so that I can keep moving forward on multiple projects without getting distracted by something completely irrelevant and everything coming to a grinding halt. So I suppose you could say that it's a strategy or a strategy, or
Maybe it's a tragedy.
I don't know. So there are times, as you've seen, that I'll get a whole bunch of work done, and then something happens in life and I get distracted, and I have a hard time getting motivated to get back at things. And I find something that interests me to get my creative juices flowing, and then I can get back on that other thing that I was doing before. But to try to force myself to get back on the thing I was doing before when I've lost interest in it temporarily is just about pointless. The second factor in all of that is just the realities of life. I mean, let's face it, stuff happens, things come along, and we have to shift priorities. We have to shift gears and focus in another direction. That's kind of what stalled me on the $500 paint job on that 86 Dodge pickup. Is I was going hot and heavy on it, but I'm at a point where I need to be able to devote a couple of 10 to 12 hour days in order to get it finished. And I don't have that kind of time. In the days that I did have that kind of time, the weather wasn't cooperating. And I've learned over my 40 years of doing stuff is when things get like that, just stop. Don't try to force something, because you're going to create more work for yourself in the long run. Just let it be. And when all the planets align again, it'll happen quickly and it'll get done. As long as it's fun, it always gets done. Don't get me wrong, there are enough things in life that aren't fun, and we all know that. But the more we can make things fun, especially when it comes to things like working out here in the shop and doing things like a YouTube channel and doing the videos and the movie and all the other stuff, is go with what's fun. If you make it fun, you'll eventually get it done. And so, we've made some decisions around about like the Challenger and the Duster, that were the heavy fabrication just needs to be set aside for now and focus on the driver cars and other things. We just did the movie. I'm doing things that I find that are fun, and the theme of my channel that I never stray from is spending the day here with me in the shop working on whatever it is. So we come together here 3 times a week and we talk about stuff or we do stuff. And that's the way the channel's built. Now, the question was, how much time do I spend? And that's kind of a complicated question, but let's get into the main meat, the main thrust of get right down into the meat of the pie is what I'm trying to say. The bulk of the time that I spend working out here is definitely on Saturdays and Sundays. Sometimes I can squeak out one day during the week when I might be able to come out and do something. I don't generally work out in the shop in the evenings. I try to spend time with Becky when she's home. She works a lot and is gone a lot, so that's obviously my top priority. But to get to the answer is I will spend anywhere from, let's say, 10 to 30 hours on a given week. Most of the time, it's probably more like 10 or 20. So like I in my normal routine, I take one day, part of a day, a long lunch sometimes to try to do like I'm doing today. Today happens to be a Sunday, but to just like get the walls pushed back again and do a little cleaning and kind of get things put back in the general direction where they belong. And right now, like I said, things are really bad. But most of my time is Saturdays and Sundays, sometimes a Friday afternoon. And that's when the bulk of it happens. And I usually only work out in the shop um, until about 4 or 5 o'clock, because when I'm done working for the day, when I'm done filming, I always try to get that day's episode edited, rendered, reviewed, and uploaded. So that process takes anywhere from an hour. Talk About It Tuesdays are usually pretty simple, like today's. There's not a lot of fancy stuff that I'm doing, changing some camera angles. The edit on this usually is pretty straightforward. I can usually get this edited in an hour, render it out, and get it up on my television so that I can review it in large screen format to make sure that the quality is decent and stuff like that, make sure the sound levels are good, and then get it up, create a thumbnail, and get it uploaded to YouTube. That whole process will take 2 to 3 hours. And that happens for every single episode that I do. That's my process. When I'm done filming for the day, I try to get that episode edited, rendered, and reviewed and uploaded. So I include that in the shop time of that 15 to 30 hours, 10 to 30 hours a week, because it is part of the process for me. Now, I know Squirrel was just mentioning this on one of his episodes. He talked about how the need to turn out content kind of does keep you motivated to work in the shop. There's a reason I turn out 3 episodes a week. Several reasons. Number one of my channels that I used to watch all the time, I just don't have as much time for anymore. But if you're familiar with Iron Trap Garage, which is all vintage hot rod stuff that's being built by some guys in Pennsylvania, it's a really good channel. I love the fabrication work that Matt does over there. Matt and Mike are a great team, and they've got other people now working in the shop. And I like the format of that channel. They also turn out 3 episodes a week. Now, their Sundays are oftentimes a live, not always, but oftentimes they do, they call it their Sunday service, and they do a live stream on a Sunday. Because of where I live and the technology that I have, I'm very lucky to have the internet that I have, which isn't great, but it's better than what anybody else in my neighborhood has. And it's just because I own a tech company and I have connections to know how to get things done. But I'm not really set up on the homestead here itself to be able to live stream. I don't have internet here in the barn. It's all in the house. I have equipment that I could set up to do a mesh net over the property and that kind of stuff. And I've considered it. But it's more about the time that it would take, and I just don't think it's worth it right now. So anyway, that's why I don't do live streams generally, because it just doesn't work from here. I live in the middle of nowhere. That's the amount of time that I spend. By the time you take in, if I spend 6, 7 hours working in the shop and then 3 to 5 hours editing, you can see how quickly that time goes. Becky's very gracious, very understanding. She is the one who encouraged me to start this channel 4 years ago. I was watching some stuff during the shutdown, and she said, what you do is a little different, and you should share that with people. And I was having a conversation with my son as well, and we realized that this is just also a great way to preserve what I do for my family as I age, and my grandkids wonder about Grandpa. We have They can see what Grandpa did. So yes, I do spend a pretty significant amount of time in my spare time and on weekends doing the channel. It's very rare that I will film over more than one day. The movie was an exception. That was filmed over a couple of years, mostly over 8 weeks. But that's very rare for me because I like to get that sense of accomplishment. I got this one thing done. I've got it filmed. I've got it edited. I've got the episode out. We got to spend the day together, and you have content 3 days a week. Yes, I could cut back to one episode a week. You know what would happen if I did that? My work out here would get cut by 66%. If I didn't have to turn out the content, I wouldn't be out here continuing to work all the time. And so the work would slow down, which means all of these projects would drag out even further. And so that's as much for me as it is for anything. Now, yes, I could film all week and turn out one episode a week and blah, 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 blah. With my meeting myself where I'm at, this is what works for me. And as several thousand of you are expressing, it's working for you as well. I certainly have had people offer suggestions about how I should do things, and most of them have been very good suggestions that I do take seriously and I consider. And we have had a few ashtrays come in and try to tell me what I should do and how I should do it and what I need to do it better and differently and why what I'm doing is wrong. Well, we've had those conversations. I don't want to beat a dead horse.
Maybe I do.
The thing is, that would not, if I did all of that, it wouldn't be sharing with you and everybody else what I do. And that's the whole point of My Car Shop, is to share what I do, the way that I do it, how I do it, and what the end product looked like. And I for myself personally, to toot my own horn because I used to play trombone, it's sharing my life. And when I look at the cars, when I look at the finished products, I'm damn proud of what I turn out. And I'll challenge anybody in this environment to turn out something that looks equal or better. Now, I'm not saying I'm the best in the world. I am the best in the world. So I am saying that. I am the best in the world at what I do because I'm the only one that does what I do. You do what you do, and he does what he does, and she does what she do, and they do what they do. And so, we're each unique, and I just like sharing my life and my journey and how I've been doing things since I was a kid. And that obviously the skill set has grown and improved. But the question was how much time? That's how much time I do spend with the editing process and the filming and the project and everything else. 10 to 30 hours a week is probably about what it's going to be. Most weeks it's probably in the 20-25 hour range. So that's how I do it. That's why I do it. And that's how much time I spend doing it. I appreciate you being here. I got a whole lot more cleaning to get done today, but I got this little area done while we were talking. So pull up a chair, get yourself a beverage, and let's just have some more conversation as I continue to push the walls back. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Like, subscribe, share, please. I appreciate it. And thanks for everything that you do to help make the channel grow. Oh, we don't want to forget this. It's important. Rock!